because he recently signed one of our top dance hall artists who would be who? Up top. Absolutely. Up top. Welcome to Jamaica once again, Steve.
Hello.
Always glad to have you.
Pleasure to be here. How you guys doing? Good to see y'all.
So, let me first read a little bit from his bio for you, although he's sitting right here. He's an American music executive and talent manager, best known for not only signing Up Top, but also for working with Nipsey Hussle. Now, in 2020, the duo received 2 Grammy Awards for the songs Racks in the Middle and also Higher. Now, Steve is a power player in hip hop. He has made his mark at Island, Def Jam, Atlantic, and also at Warner. Steve, when we get started, I want to ask you immediately, how did you get started in music?
That's a deep question. But I guess my start in music came from just a passion of wanting to be behind the scenes. I've interned at a numerous amount of companies and just really just climbed the ladder and tried to be as open to learning as many things as I could.
But even as you interned in companies, how did you get there? Was that when you were in college? Was that before college? What were you doing?
That was before college and on the way to college. I mean, it was a different era back then, right? Like social media and access to information was a lot more limited. So hustling and building relationships and networking kind of got me into the space that I got to today.
So, as a teenager, you were interested in music.
Yeah, we all were.
Some of us weren't. Very few, though. And you decided that you wanted to do something with music, or was there something else that you went to college for?
Oh, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a doctor. Well, I thought I was going to be a doctor because I thought I was going to play American football, go to college, go to the NFL, and that was a dream deferred. So, being that growing up in my household, music was a central part. My dad's a reggae DJ, and my uncle's a reggae singer. So
Who's your dad?
he's nobody to you guys.
Oh,
He's
shit.
just Wayne to me.
He's
But
Wayne, so he's
yeah,
Wayne Carless,
yes,
and he was a radio DJ.
yeah. But my uncle is Don Carless, who is a reggae singer that was distributed through VP in the 70s.
Don Carlos, as in Black Uhuru.
Yeah,
Okay. So see, now we know a little bit more about you
yeah.
and why it is that you're so interested in music. So you know you interned and then you started to move up the ladder. But tell me, how did you meet Nipsey Hussle? How did that come about?
Nipsey and I met at a magazine shoot in I want to say early 2009, where he was featured on the cover. We call it the freshman list, which is all new artists that are selected to be the future of the genre. So we met at that video shoot. I was there with another artist that was featured on the cover, and that was our introduction, how we became friends.
And then you started working together with him. How did that develop to the point where you got a Grammy too?
Well, from the time when we became friends to where that happened is almost a decade in between. So our relationship started from I at the time was working at a record company, and he had just separated from his record company and really wanted a lot of information about how to become a term that's called vertically integrated, which means you can discover it, create it, design it, market it, build it, distribute it all under one umbrella and a singular umbrella. And it takes a very complex setup of infrastructure to do something like that. And his journey was more about trying to learn each interstitial of what that would take to do so that way he can be self-funded, self-distributed, and self-marketed. in order to control his brand and control the dollar, the spend, and everything that comes along
So
with
that's
that.
the epitome of an independent.
100%. Yeah, so I'm trying to remember the question, but
The question is, so the movement, now you were working with him and you got to the Grammy.
okay. I mean, again, that was long in between, but our relationship started from there, and we got on this mission to do an album at a major record company, which I was working to convince him on, but he was never interested in. And after a few years, I was able to convince him, and we got into the process, and we began developing an album that we called Victory Lap, which was a seminal piece, a brand, or really his debut album in his mixtape series from what we called the Marathon, which is his brand, company, and go across his other multiple businesses. So we built that album, and um, from start to finish, we spent about 5.5 years building that album, developing it, and trying to really get it to a great place. As times were evolving, we were going from CD distribution and digital downloading to streaming, and just really ensuring that what we were doing really matched what he wanted to say in the time that we were living in. So having an album come out, which it came out in 2018, from that point is, we were fortunate to get a Best Rap Album of the Year Grammy nomination.
Did you expect it? Was it a surprise?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, that was our seminal goal, was to try to get, considered by the Academy, because we thought that the work was in the beginning of a new generation. So for us, we almost, I don't want to say we expected, but that was a feat that we felt like was a standard for what we were doing with the music that we were making.
One of the things they say about you is that you have an eye, spotting talent, spotting great talent. What was the great talent about a Nipsey Hussle?
I would say when it comes to spotting talent, for me, my opinion of it is it's all about, is the artist passionate about what they want to do, and do they have a vision for themselves? It's more than just, I can't speak, I'm not an artist myself, so I would never disrespect the process of having opinion of what it takes, but it really takes a special individual to really be passionate and care and have a vision and work towards that mission day in and day out.
What was special about him, though? What were those key things that you saw in him?
He really cared about, he was just as enthusiastic about the musicality of projects versus, in addition to what it was on the business side of it, which I thought was pretty, I think it was pretty phenomenal to see a new artist be interested in. Most artists, this is about a dream. It's about, how can I be famous? How can I be big? Every time I sit down with an artist, the first thing he said to me, I just want to be big. And his thing wasn't routed around being big. It was about doing something important and understanding his business at the highest level while making the highest level of art in the musicality form. I think those two things together made him very compelling to me.
Why do you do what you do?
What did he do and what did I do?
Why do you do what you do?
I mean, I have a passion for discovering new things, and I love making things. It's a great output creatively for me. I love doing business, and be able to build something from A to Z, and watch that thing grow and know that your contributions help that thing scale, is a great piece of happiness for me. So as much pain points as it gives you along the way, the bitter euphoria that you get at the end, and seeing how other people receive what you've been able to sacrifice for, develop, and exploit, it's a very magical thing for me. So that's why I do it. So I go out every day, and anything that I do, just beyond trying to relive those feelings, ensure that I'm doing something important.
Nice. You've done work with Beyonce, Lion King. Tell me a little bit about that journey.
That was a new one for me. I've spent a majority of my career doing hip hop and R&B, and being centered out of the East Coast of the United States. Um, this was a different level for me, even though I've worked across many different projects with many people during my career. But this one, working with someone at her altitude for the time that we did, I learned a lot, and I had to step up to learn new things that I never experienced before. Before I got there, there was already a 20 plus year career that between touring and a mass amount of record sales, it could be intimidating if you don't have like self-belief and understanding of why you're there to go in that kind of arena with that kind of individual. So that was a great experience for me. Again, I got exposed to things in a truncated amount of time to create something that is a staple in just culture, not just musically, but alongside the film. Um, and it was just it was an experience that kind of really changed the trajectory and also the understanding of where I was going with my career.
So now, if I should ask you, where are you going in your career in 2024? What more can we expect from Steve Carless, having moved through record companies and there's a demand for you? Now you're at the top of Warner Records. What do you plan to do there, and what's your trajectory going forward?
I mean, my trajectory is more about, I think, this space. I've spent every moment up until now trying to figure out how to achieve things that someone that looks like me or someone that's where I'm from has never done before. And being blessed and privileged to um, accomplish most of those things, I found in my journey that there's more important things to focus on than what's self-serving to me. It's really about what can I use in my experience and my knowledge and my connections and relationships to create that can help other people. So the trajectory for me right now is going out and creating as many stories that symbolize what Nipsey Hussle has done or anything that's been important in my career. I've been figuring out how to not only be a leader in creating those kinds of opportunities, but those kinds of successes as well. So for me going forward, it's about discovery, it's about building, it's about scaling from what we've built and breaking it down and doing it all over again.
And so now, eyes on Jamaica, and you have signed a Jamaican artiste. What are your thoughts about the genres out of Jamaica, particularly reggae and dancehall, and the contribution that those genres are making globally to the fact that you've signed an artiste, where you see it going?
Full circle for me, my heritage is from here and it goes back almost 4 generations. And learning that as an adult, um, growing up, I never looked at it like that. You're just into what you're into and you're doing what you're doing. But be able to come back here and actually sign an artist from here was important to me. And now I can kind of disperse some of the jokes from my family that I won't go to Jamaica and sign an artist. Now that's over with. Uh, so it's a great nod to have. And but as I look forward, I'm just really interested about. I'm just looking for what's new, right? You're just trying to discover. And with the way that technology has changed our industry, I think for the better. It's an opportunity where the world is a lot smaller than what it used to be. And being able to go into these different foreign territories and these markets all across the board and find new ways to make collaborative but innovative sounds is just, I think it's amazing. And as the generations continue to evolve, there's just new opportunities that come every day. So coming back here is a mainstay for me. One, because I understand it. Two, because I'm excited about it. And three, I'm just trying to do something that's new in a way that I don't think any of my peers and contemporaries are even thinking about. So being able to bring things from the islands and from the Island Music Conference out of Jamaica and then try to take it to the world, especially at my level at the company that I work for, which is publicly traded, it's a very important mission for me.
Is it any different working with a Jamaican artiste than it is working with a North American artiste or Afrobeats artiste?
No difference. I mean, every artist and individual is unique in itself, right? So, but
Is the strategy the same?
the strategies are not the same. Again, everyone's different, and I believe from here, like what I've learned working with TJ and coming into the Caribbean and looking at artists and doing things, I understand that the business infrastructure, how we do it in the States, is it's not. I don't want to say it's that different, but it's a little bit behind the way the world's moving. But the good thing about it is I feel like the artists have found a way to um, they found a way to expose themselves and get seen and heard through the different mediums, whether it be social media or the new platforms, and be relevant in markets that we've always been relevant in, but go to the top and share the same shelf space as some of the American artists. And I think because of that opportunity in itself, there's more things to be done.
Does that help the record label or cripple the record label a little bit?
As far as
The artists being almost able to control their own trajectory and control where they're going rather than the record label signing and dictating what happens.
well, to be honest, record labels, that is a that's kind of a that's taboo, right? Like record labels don't control things. Like we don't control things. Like I don't go and tell TJ what to do. I support what TJ's doing because the world's in a different place. And what we do is, do the record labels in the US have a true understanding? No, but what they do know is they understand their business. So if there's a way where we can make a juxtaposition between the way the Caribbean does business versus what works in the Americas, that helps make the opportunity to kind of build artists the way that they understand because it's their investment, right? But no one's telling anybody what to do. But I think the most important thing when you're working out of market of things that are being imported into the United States is artists have to be able to travel, right? Because the biggest hindrance, challenge that I've seen with working with a TJ has been great, and he works really hard, and he's very receptive, and he's very understanding, but he's in New York 2-3 times a month, and he can travel and he can go places, and just the accessibility of being able to do that changes the trajectory of what opportunities he can get and how he can move it, versus other artists who don't have that. That becomes an incredible challenge to invest in.
So there are no more persons sitting in the audience, sitting on our lives, who are therefore saying, so one Jamaican artist has gone through, he's been signed to Warner Records, and they want to know what you have to do to be signed.
I like to tell artists, signing a record deal is not the goal. It is not the dream. I want to change the perception because old time conventional, what you might understood is, things were curated a certain way because distribution was controlled by the U.S. companies, and they're controlled by their distribution outlets that were physical stores, or they were, they just control the pipeline. Mm-hmm. No one controls the pipeline now. You can put something on YouTube and have global distribution in minutes. So the goal is not to be signed. The goal is, once you're signed, do you understand what we're doing in partnership to scale it? And is there a vision? Is there a plan? Is there a strategy to move it around the world to talk to the audiences that you have galvanized from the art that you do, right? So I'm not a gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. I'm a bridge, if that makes sense. So
it absolutely makes sense.
So I just want people to understand, like, getting a record deal, when I hear that, it sounds like, did you win the lottery? It's not the lottery. It's actually, and I hate to talk about it in such, like, coarse business terms, but, you go into someone to invest money, bandwidth, time, creative, energy to expand and scale your vision and your art in a way around the world that um, the only expertise can come from record companies, right? Versus you doing it by yourself.
It seems, therefore, that we're back to team. We spoke about team a lot yesterday. So, and again, we're looking at TJ because he is who we know recently signed, and that's a Jamaican, and we can look at that. So here we have an album out, and it is executive produced by Shaggy, and the artist is managed by Sharon Burke, who has all of this connectivity. And so therefore, is it that the stronger the team that you have, the better for you as an artist, rather than just trying to get signed to a record label?
There's no way to do it without a team. And the team is really why I was able to go to my company and petition for us to invest in TJ. Because, albeit, no matter where I come from and what I'm interested in, I still have to convince 225 other people that this is important. I have to convince 225 people to be passionate and enthusiastic about this. And I got to give them history, I got to give them strategy, I have to give them point of view, and I have to give them vision and upside of where this can go if those 225 people align together on the same mission. That's not easy. So team is the most important because no matter how valuable or how important I think I am, I can't do it without the people that support me. And on the artist side, you need that too because in talking and working with TJ, these are the people that I rely on to get things over the line. I can call TJ, I get TJ, but I'm gonna call Sharon, I'm gonna call Shaggy, I'm gonna make sure that everything is on the path to where I value it so that way I can keep my 225 people engaged at the highest level.
Okay. So we want to thank you for having been at the Island Music Conference twice. And when you come to this conference, what are you looking for? What are your expectations?
I don't really have much expectation. The hope and always the wish is meeting new people and building new relationships. That's the biggest value for me. Seeing you all and hearing some of your stories and understanding what you do and what's important, and it's a great learning experience for me because that's where the value is. The value is in how to get access to new networks because there's always a new opportunity that you can find and create. And being here has allowed me to do that. And this is the conference where I found and signed TJ at. So that's just a testament of the ability to network and learn and see people. And it wasn't really till I came here and saw what these records were doing and what they mean here is where I was able to conversate that back in the United States to get an investment to bring him on and do what we're doing now.
Okay. We're going to go into Q&A because I've gone over the time to get you to Q&A.
Our question. By the way, Steve, welcome again.
Thank you.
I'm the guy you outbid. So him and I was in a bidding war to get TJ, by the way, but he outbid me. And
But we're partners now.
right, we're partners now. We actually switched it around. But I'm gonna tell you, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming again for the second time. And what you have done is very important because I saw firsthand a lot of these guys who are here are from the inner city. This is their only way out. And I'm saying as far as opportunity. I have witnessed the levels of this and know that it is attainable by the lowest of lowest. And what you have done is given him an opportunity and a platform to express his culture and his art to where it will change the generational cycle of his family. I've seen this guy bought his house. I've seen this guy got his car. I've seen this guy getting his kids to put his kids' schools cool and everything. And now has gotten himself in a position where he can now start on building generational wealth. Right? So I just want to big you up for that.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And Remember what he said? He said he had to convince 200 other
100.
people. So when this guy signs you as the artist,
Can't mess around.
you can't mess with you mess with this guy career when you don't show up on time, when you don't show up to an interview, when you don't follow through, when you're lazy. Because there's a lot of people that's their job is on the line because they took a chance on you. We are in the business of service. That is, a man might look by and say, boy, Shaggy, you're right, it wasn't me, a genius. I'm not a damn genius, trust me. I didn't even write Wasn't Me. I might physically have written it, but if I could have write Wasn't Me, I'd write 6 of them. I'm telling you, I would have been rich. You know what I mean? That's ordained through something bigger. It's like you build a house on the 4-wall build with the cement. I know you have to put on the roof and you're going to need a hammer to make the roof, because you build a roof, the house for your family. And God say, all right, you want a hammer? Say, Wasn't Me. Bam. That's the hammer. You understand what I say? We're all in service. Because when I went on tour, there was 150 people on tour with me and TLC, from riggers to truckers to lighting people to stage handlers to concession people. That's 200 light bill, water rate, school fee, mortgages. And those kids might go to school, and one of them kids, they might go to a Ivy League school, and that Ivy League school, they might be the person that found the cure for cancer, I don't know, but you're a bigger part of an equation. So when they want to make a strong investment from this point, take it serious. Now, with that said, with a label, you was talking about the label a little while ago. Labels today is like a bank. They don't have much to offer, right? You just pretty much said that, all right? What is it that is extra that you think a label is going to offer compared to these guys that are doing it by themselves? Now, I know the answer. I just want you to break it down for them.
Yeah, I think I would say today's record label is here for scale, right? We're great at finding things that are already moving at a certain velocity, and we're great at investing, picking it, and scaling it, and taking it around the world. Because our company is a global company, so in the United States we have 225 people between 2 coasts, but we have 7,000 people around the world across all territories that we can dial into at the drop of a dime and get scale really quickly. But
So it's not like A&Ring from scratch anymore. It's normally, it's better if they have a run-in, something that's already going.
if you're talking about the average of the majority,
So does numbers play a part of it as far as numbers in social numbers or anything like that? No?
here's my point
Is
of
it
view
more
about
attractive
numbers.
that way?
Attractive is these are business people. These are publicly traded corporations on a global scale. Anything that earns money is what's going to have their interest immediately, right? The
So
days,
that's a yes, it is attractive to have more numbers.
I would say from my point of view, yes.
Okay.
I think
I'm just breaking it down because I want these guys to
no,
understand
100%.
it. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to give it a haircut. I just want to just give you what I value, because what I do doesn't always represent what the company that I work for does. Like, I'm an A&R person. I'm a creative person. I still go in and I touch.
But you're the guy in the business that's batting for the artist's vision.
100%.
Okay.
But you know, I have the experience and I have the skills to go in and hand mold these things myself out the ground, but also understand the business at the highest level, and that's really where the gift comes at, right? Because if you understand what interests them, because there's a quote that says, "Show me incentive, and I'll show you the outcome." So if you understand what their incentive is, then you understand what you want and what you need and what you can negotiate from them in lieu of how they can benefit you, right? But once you understand that first, it can give you great insight to what to do
From
next.
an A&R standpoint, listening to Jamaican music, because I know you've been listening to Jamaican music, what do you think it is lacking, or what do you think is needed for you to get a success that passes a ceiling?
What's
Is it
definitely
is it the arrangement? Is it the whatever? What is it?
First part would be arrangement, chorus. You got to remember outside of here, and when you look at things, if you think of things from a global perspective, you want people to sing your song, right? And the longer it takes for them to get to the part that's memorable that they can sing is the more difficult it is. Now, that may be cultural to us here, but that might not translate to someone that doesn't speak English somewhere else.
So don't take 16 bar to get to the chorus.
Nah,
Not smart.
that's just conventional record business wisdom, right? But everything to me is about how to get it to scale, because you want it to leave here, you want it to travel, you want it to be around the world, you want it to resonate. So to do that, simplicity is key, meaningfulness is key, and there's a level of brilliance that has to be to do both of those at the same time and condensed in what's going on in today's world. Songs back then were 4 or 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes later than that, but today's songs are average 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So you have to find a way to get it out, get it across the line, have it repetitive, have it understood, have it compelling, have it meaningful, have it unique, all in that window. That's where your craft and art comes
So
from.
that means saying now the terms, the song of a visa. Thank
Yes.
you. Q&A for everybody, please. Thank you.
Anybody else has a question?
Yeah, good day. No question, one comment. First, I want to thank all the busy bees behind the curtains for making this conference possible. The cameraman, the technicians, the stage manager, reception, and so on. It's about the three heads, but also about the busy bees in the background. Second, for next year, hoping Island Music Conference, I would suggest the topic, visa, how to get a visa, what is important for artists to have on paperwork to get overseas, and yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you
Well,
so
thank
much.
you. We'll do that. We actually had it, but we had to cut a couple of topics because we ended up with too many. So yes, next year.
I'd like to add to that too, because the visa thing is incredibly important. You know, a lot of things that would deter us from signing out of the Caribbean is the ability for the artist to travel, right? And I know that's a difficult thing, but that has to be one of the priorities, because it almost makes no sense if you're gonna spend money, try to market and promo a song in multiple territories and the artist can't travel.
Thank
That's
you.
something you
Questions?
need to talk to the embassy about, because we've been screaming that tons of artists. That's one of the biggest setback for the Jamaican culture is the lack of visas, right? And sometimes it's for some minute things too. It's really, really sad, because Sharon and I have actually lobbied on several occasions for several artists to get their visa back, as far as go to senators, and it's been a journey and it's been a fight, and that's one of those conversations I was trying to get somebody from the embassy to come here to IMC to actually have that conversation on what is it or how we could clear it up, because if we can't travel, that's the reason why we're less than 10% of the global market share, because if artists can't travel, then you can't promote it. And then the record company is not going to, you just heard it firsthand from him, they ain't going to invest in you if you don't have a visa. That's pretty much what he just said. He says he likes the fact that TJ could travel, and that is a main part of it. And so artists, when they get on a visa, stop going with mash up on the thing. Walk the straight line, seeing? Because this is not just, it is you and your future. The visa there for you, and your money that. Anytime you take away your visa, them take away your money. See? And that's a bag you could have gotten if Steve Carless wanted to sign you and your music was dope, and find out that you can't travel and him can't convince him 250 people or 25 people to sign you. FYI.
Hello.
Yeah, who next?
We have two persons with questions here,
Yeah.
also.
Good afternoon. My name is Ronelle Grandison. I'm a social media strategist. I've worked closely with Benny Pugh and Jamie Crawford Walker. My question to you, Steve, is what trends do you see shaping the future of the music industry, and how should upcoming artists and executives alike prepare for them?
I think YouTube is the next frontier. It's free service, easy to use, mobile phones. It's available on most companies. It's a Google company. I believe it's the future. That's me. That doesn't mean any other DSP is less than, but it's easier to be seen and heard. It's the one ecosystem where you have audio, visual, you can have static images, you can comment, you can share, you can comment. I just find it to be an ecosystem that artists can go and really build out meaningful audience and great strategy and really galvanize and see insights and analytics. And no matter where I go in the world, someone can watch the video versus anywhere else. You know, Apple's not in all platforms, no slight to them, but and Spotify is not in every territory as well. So I just feel like for artists, one, it's a great opportunity, and I think executives as well can also learn a great deal about artists just being proficient on the YouTube platform.
Immediate litmus test of how you're impacting your audience also and getting suggestions from your audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Asabe, and I'm a recording artist. I'm just getting clarity on the conversation between Mr. Carless and Shaggy. I'm just going to give it in a metaphor, and you could tell me if I'm correct. So, based on the conversation you guys were having, I basically got from that you guys want to see a diamond, right? And that metaphor means the artist. So you want to see a diamond already cut, and then your team would basically take that diamond, put it in a ring, you know, fancy it up, and then put it in a bigger storefront. So it's not that you want to see an uncut stone, or you're searching for uncut stones to be like, oh, this look like it can be something good. Let me cut it myself and, you know, do everything. So that's what you guys want to see already, an artist that has something already. You guys are not like digging to pick up somebody and say, yeah, I see something here, let me, you know. You want work already to be done before you can put it in the ring and put it on the storefront.
Yes, if you're asking me for money, yes. If you want money from the corporation, then yes. I'm going to say that because, again, it's incentive. Is that every case? No. We do enjoy going out and finding and making and developing and building things, but that is time expensive, that is cash expensive, that is people expensive, right? If you really understood from 35,000 feet, it takes hundreds and sometimes thousands of people to make one artist or one song work. And it takes hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of dollars to do that for one person. Sometimes that process can get convoluted and it can be challenging to find the right one all the time. And you start making bets on the people that seem to have a great infrastructure, a great team, and kind of figured out a lot of these things on their own, because this is not, I've been in the record business for 20 years, so 2 decades and counting now. And from when I started to what it is today, it's 2 different iterations. Before I couldn't get on the phone and DM someone and talk to someone. I had to go meet them. I had to fly, I had to drive, I had to go learn them. I had to be really good in vernacular to even be compelling to even get a response from someone. Today, you can reach me or get access to me just by showing up to places like this. You can get access to me DMing me. That just wasn't there. That wasn't that easy back then. So what it is today is like you have the entire world in the palm of your hands, and there's just a level of, I think, responsibility that artists need to have, you know, outside of outside of just being good enough of going to the studio and making great materials, like understanding what it is, because on many, many levels, which we could talk offline here, is, you know, everyone has a great expectation of the infrastructure of the record companies until they have success, right? And once you start having success, then everybody wants to count the money. And then it's like, well, I've sold millions of records, but I didn't make the money, but don't understand how much it took to make that a success. And then they're not proficient in their business, and then they're upset. And then they look at their interior team and start making accusations, and they start wars online with their record company to leverage them to get what they feel like should be reparations for the work they've done. And I'm not saying that any of that is or things that aren't true or haven't happened that been predatory on the record label side. What I'm just saying is I just think in today's time, with the access to information, the ability to distribute, the opportunities and the technologies available to even record and at a faster pace than what it was back in the day, there's a responsibility that has to be held on the artist to do so.
Thank you so much. I love it how we're real here. We take a final comment from Shaggy. We really are extremely, we'll take it from, you give it to, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Extremely tight with time, so please keep it short,
Okay,
as short
thank
as you can.
Thank you. My name is Mona again. I'm from Zimbabwe. And my question is this. You mentioned that when considering artists, you consider their ability to travel. Now, I come from southern part of Africa. I know everybody, when they talk of Africa, they're just talking of Nigeria. And they think, most people think Africa is just one small country. It's a huge continent with more than 50 countries. So we are, in the southern part of Africa, we are not enjoying the success Nigeria is enjoying. So my question is, traveling, coming from Zimbabwe is very difficult. What are the chances of somebody in Zimbabwe to be signed by record labels like you? And we've never seen that happening. Question number 2 is, our population is small, it's 15 million. So for you to even get traction, the amount of traction that artists around the world or in other places get is very difficult. I know somebody is going to say Jamaica has got a smaller population, but you are close to America, so that alone is got certain advantages. It's totally different from us who come from far back in Southern Africa. I even wrote a book called Poor and Famous. Most of our artists are just poor and famous. So can you elaborate on that one?
I would say, for the first question, yes, you could get signed by someone like me. And I want to give you context to that. The world, again, the world's smaller. Access to technology has made it a lot easier to see things in a way that we've never been able to see them now, much less than what we were able to do 5, 6 years ago. I think there's an incredible opportunity, but I also want to give context, and guys understand this too, and I preach this a lot to where I go, and it's very important when I sign artists from foreign territories. It's about what is happening at home. And I know that sounds like an old school theme, but it's more important than ever because when you look at the global landscape and because of technology, it's made local more important than anything. Like the charts here are full of dancehall and reggae artists that are from here as opposed to American artists or any other artists from abroad. So the opportunities that you have is just building a great business model in your home territory, as well as getting seen and understood and building your own business from that is an opportunity that wasn't afforded many, many years ago. So when you talk about Zimbabwe, you know, the continent of Africa is like new breeding ground, and obviously technology is still expanding month over month, year over year, and more things are becoming relevant and easier to be seen. And I think there's a huge opportunity to discover things along the way. And I learned that a lot from working on The Lion King, because we went into as many of the regions as possible from the African continent to try to find singers, songwriters, producers. That's what Mrs. B's intention was, to highlight the creative community from such a rich continent. So yes, there's a way to do it, but I just would tell you, like, don't be so, all of you don't be so pressed on going to the U.S. market to be seen. There's huge opportunities here in your own backyard, and there's many, many ways to skin the cat, and you know, it's all about audience and where that audience goes with you. And with with the internet and social media and technology, everything's in your pocket, and you can carry everyone with you.
It is very true. But give it up for Steve, by the way. But just like he says, the good thing about the internet now is that it makes the markets much bigger, much more accessible. So take, for instance, something like I Go Down There that went gold. A lot of those streams came from India. Go figure. Huge. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really sit down and think about it, that because the globe is this big and there's so many different markets, you might put a record out And you might see it not happening in the United States, but it's happening in Germany, it's happening in Africa, it's happening in these places. So don't be discouraged if you don't see it moving on one particular market, because there are many other markets out there can take it. You just have to do good music, go out there and stay on top of your promotion. Your social media is the means of getting promotion out. Stay on top of it as much, and then if you can travel, go and do as much things. And here we know most of the artists them do a thing. A man asks them to come do something and them say, yo, how much you pay me? Sometimes you ain't at that level to be asking for no pay. Because you know where pay come from? Polestar. You know what Polestar is? Hard ticket sales. And if you can't sell hard tickets on full venue, then you ask me to pay you X amount of money. You need the promotion so you could get your Polestar up, right? So that you can ask for that money later on down the line. So just keep that in mind. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judith.
We've been
Appreciate
talking to Steve Carless, head of Warner Records. Another round of applause for Steve Carless.
Thank you.
And still to come, we have two more panels. We're going to be looking at sound systems, and then we'll also be looking at sync. And then we will be looking to premiere the feature film, which is Bad Like Brooklyn Dance Hall. So still a packed day on this, our final day of Island Music Conference 2024.